Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Talk English. I'm Aisha, and today we're talking about something that's super close to my heart, and probably yours too if you're listening to this podcast.
Hey everyone, I'm Noman. And yeah, today's topic is all about how to talk about your study journey in English. Whether you're learning English, studying for an exam, or picking up a new skill, being able to share your progress and challenges is so important.
Oh my gosh, yes. And here's the thing, I see this all the time with learners. They can talk about their job or their hobbies pretty well, but when someone asks, "So, how's your English coming along?" or "How are your studies going?" they just freeze up and say something like, "It's okay," or "Not bad," and that's it. The conversation just dies.
Exactly, and it's such a missed opportunity because talking about your learning journey is actually a great way to connect with people. Plus, when you can articulate your progress and your struggles, it helps you stay motivated too. You start noticing your small wins instead of just focusing on how far you still have to go.
That's so true. I remember when I was learning French, I used to feel so discouraged because I'd compare myself to people who were fluent. But when I started celebrating little victories, like understanding a whole podcast episode or having a conversation without switching to English, it totally changed my mindset.
Love that. And that's exactly what we're going to help you do today. In this episode, we'll show you how to talk about your progress, how to describe challenges without sounding negative, and how to celebrate those small wins in English. We'll give you natural phrases that native speakers use, point out common mistakes, and help you sound confident and authentic.
Plus, we've got a vocabulary breakdown and a fun practice challenge at the end. So, whether you're chatting with a language partner, posting in a study group online, or just journaling about your progress, you'll have the tools to express yourself clearly and naturally. Let's get started. All right, Noman, let's dive right in. So, imagine I meet you at a language exchange event and I ask you, "Hey, so how's your English learning going?"
Oh, good question. I've been making steady progress actually. I started taking it seriously about 6 months ago, and I can definitely see improvement.
Ooh, I love that phrase, making steady progress. It sounds so much more natural than just saying, "It's okay." So, what kind of improvement have you noticed?
Well, the biggest breakthrough for me was when I stopped translating everything in my head. Like, I used to hear English and immediately translate it to Urdu, then think of my response in Urdu and translate it back. But now I'm starting to think directly in English, at least for simple conversations.
Wow, that's huge. That's actually one of the signs you're really advancing. So, would you say you're like fluent now or?
No, definitely not fluent. I'd say I'm somewhere in the intermediate range. I can handle everyday conversations pretty comfortably, but I still struggle with things like understanding native speakers when they talk really fast or expressing complex ideas.
That's really honest, and I think that's important. A lot of learners feel like they have to pretend they're better than they are, or they go the opposite way and say they're terrible when they're actually doing well. Okay, so what about challenges? What's been the hardest part for you?
Oh man, I really struggle with phrasal verbs, like put up with, get over, run into. There are just so many of them, and they don't always make logical sense. I'll think I understand one, and then I hear it used in a completely different way.
Oh, phrasal verbs are the worst. Every English learner says that. But here's something I'm curious about. How do you stay motivated? Because 6 months is a long time to keep going consistently.
Honestly, I've had my ups and downs. There have been weeks where I was super motivated, practicing every day, and then other weeks where I barely opened my textbook. But what helps me is celebrating small wins.
Yes, small wins are so important. Can you give me an example of a small win you celebrated recently?
Sure, just last week, I watched an entire English movie without subtitles and understood like 80% of it. A few months ago, I would have been completely lost, so I gave myself a pat on the back for that.
That's awesome. And that's exactly the kind of thing we should be noticing and celebrating. Okay, so let's talk about goals. What are you working toward now?
Great question. So my main goal right now is to become confident enough to use English in professional settings. I want to be able to give presentations, participate in meetings, that sort of thing. I know I'm not there yet, but I'm chipping away at it by practicing a little every day.
I love chipping away at it. That's such a good phrase. It shows you understand that progress takes time. Now, here's something learners often ask me. How do you deal with setbacks? Like, what if you have a bad week or feel like you're not improving?
Oh, absolutely. That happens to everyone. Just last month, I had this conversation with a native speaker and I felt like I couldn't express anything properly. I left feeling so frustrated. But then I reminded myself that one bad day doesn't erase all of my progress. I mean, we all have off days, right?
That's such a healthy mindset. And honestly, that's what separates learners who give up from learners who eventually succeed. It's all about how you handle those tough moments. Okay, last question. What advice would you give to someone who's just starting their English learning journey?
I'd say don't compare yourself to others. Everyone learns at their own pace, and someone else's success doesn't mean you're failing. Also, focus on progress, not perfection. Like, if you can say something 70% correctly today when you could only say it 50% correctly last month, that's progress. Celebrate that instead of beating yourself up about the 30% you got wrong.
Ugh, so true. The comparison trap is real. And that perfection mindset, it kills so much motivation. Okay, this has been such a great conversation. Let's recap the key phrases we used. I've been making steady progress for describing consistent improvement. The biggest breakthrough for me was for highlighting major achievements. I'm somewhere in the intermediate range for honestly describing your level. I really struggle with for talking about challenges naturally. I've had my ups and downs for acknowledging the journey isn't linear. Give yourself a pat on the back for celebrating wins. My main goal right now is for sharing your objectives. I'm chipping away at it for showing gradual, persistent progress. One bad day doesn't erase all my progress for maintaining perspective during setbacks. Focus on progress, not perfection, for encouraging a growth mindset.
And remember, when you're talking about your study journey, it's totally okay to be honest about both the good and the challenging parts. You don't have to pretend that everything is perfect, but you also don't have to be overly negative. Balance is key.
All right, now let's break down some essential vocabulary and phrases you'll need when talking about your study journey. We'll give you the word or phrase, explain it, show you how to use it, and sometimes give you formal versus casual variations.
Let's jump in.
First up, making progress.
This means improving or moving forward in your learning. Example, I'm making progress with my pronunciation. People understand me much better now.
You can say making good progress, making slow progress, or making real progress. The casual version is just getting better at. Use this anytime you want to talk about improvement in a natural way.
Next, breakthrough.
A breakthrough is a sudden, important discovery or achievement that changes things significantly. I had a breakthrough when I realized I could learn vocabulary through songs.
This is more impactful than just saying good thing. Use it for major moments of progress. The opposite would be setback or obstacle.
Number 3, struggle with.
This means to have difficulty with something, to find something challenging. I struggle with grammar rules. They just don't stick in my head.
Don't say I have struggle with. That's a common mistake. It's always I struggle with or I'm struggling with for ongoing difficulties. The formal version would be I find something challenging.
Fourth, ups and downs.
This idiom means alternating good and bad periods. Learning Spanish has had its ups and downs, but I'm still committed.
It shows you're realistic about the journey. Similar phrases, highs and lows, good days and bad days, a bumpy road. Use this to show maturity and honesty about any long-term process.
Number 5, pat on the back.
This means to congratulate yourself or feel proud of an achievement. I finished an entire book in English, so I'm giving myself a pat on the back.
It's slightly informal and warm. You can also say, I'm proud of myself, more direct, or that deserves recognition, more formal. Use this to celebrate your wins without bragging.
Sixth, chip away at something.
This means to gradually reduce or work on something bit by bit, like a sculptor chipping away at stone. I'm chipping away at my reading list, one chapter at a time.
It emphasizes patience and persistence. Similar phrases, work at it steadily, make gradual progress, take it step by step. Use this when you want to show you understand that big goals require time.
Number 7, setback.
A setback is something that delays your progress or causes you to move backwards temporarily. I had a setback when I got sick and couldn't study for 2 weeks.
It's neutral, not overly dramatic. You can say minor setback or major setback. The casual version is a bump in the road. Use this to acknowledge difficulties without sounding defeated.
Eighth, stay motivated or keep motivated.
This means to maintain your enthusiasm and drive to continue working toward your goal. I stay motivated by joining online study groups.
You can also say stay inspired, keep going, or maintain momentum. The formal version is sustain motivation. Use this when discussing what helps you persist through challenges.
Number 9, frame of mind or mindset.
This refers to your attitude or way of thinking about something. A positive mindset really helps when you're learning something difficult.
Frame of mind is slightly more formal. You can say growth mindset, believing you can improve, or fixed mindset, believing your abilities are unchangeable. Use this when talking about attitudes toward learning.
10th, be hard on yourself.
This means to criticize yourself too much or have unrealistic expectations. Don't be so hard on yourself. You've only been learning for 3 months.
The opposite is be kind to yourself or give yourself grace. Use this when encouraging someone or yourself to have more self-compassion.
Number 11, hit a plateau.
A plateau is a period where you stop improving even though you're still working. I hit a plateau with my speaking. I wasn't getting any better for weeks.
This is very common in learning. You can say reach a plateau or plateau phase. It's normal and doesn't mean you're failing. Use this to describe temporary stagnation.
And finally, number 12, level up.
This comes from gaming and means to advance to the next level or significantly improve. After 3 months of intensive practice, I really leveled up my listening skills.
It's casual and energetic. More formal versions advance, improve significantly, reach the next stage. Use this to make your progress sound exciting and game-like.
Remember, you don't need to use all of these in one conversation. Pick the ones that feel most natural to you and practice using them when you talk about your own learning journey.
Exactly. And here's a pro tip. Actually talk about your learning journey regularly with friends, in study groups, or even just to yourself. The more you verbalize it, the more real and motivating it becomes.
Okay, everyone, it's practice time. Here's your challenge for this week, and I really want you to actually do this, not just listen and forget about it.
Challenge number 1. Record yourself talking about your English learning journey for 90 seconds. You can use your phone's voice memo app. Start with, I've been learning English for plus time period, and then talk about your progress, challenges, and goals. Use at least 4 phrases from today's episode.
Here's an example to get you started. I've been learning English for about a year now, and I've been making steady progress. The biggest breakthrough for me was when I started thinking in English. I still struggle with idioms sometimes, but I'm chipping away at it every day.
Challenge number 2. If you're in any online study groups on Discord, WhatsApp, Reddit, wherever, share your study journey there. Even just post a few sentences. This does 2 things. It holds you accountable, and you might inspire someone else who's struggling.
And challenge number 3, start a small wins journal. Every week, write down 3 small victories in your English learning, no matter how tiny they seem. Maybe you used a new phrase correctly, understood a joke, or had a conversation without freezing up. Celebrate those wins.
The key here is to actually speak these things out loud and write them down. Don't just think about them. When you externalize your journey, whether by recording, writing, or sharing, it becomes more concrete and motivating.
So pause the podcast right now if you can and record that 90-second voice memo. Or if you're in the car or at the gym, do it as soon as you get home. Make it happen. All right, that's a wrap for today's episode. Let's quickly recap what we covered. We showed you how to talk about your study progress naturally, using phrases like making steady progress, I struggle with, and chipping away at it.
We taught you how to celebrate your wins without bragging, how to discuss challenges without sounding defeated, and how to maintain a healthy, balanced perspective on your learning journey.
Remember, progress isn't always linear. You'll have breakthroughs and setbacks, good days and tough days. What matters is that you keep showing up and celebrating those small wins along the way.
If this episode helped you, drop a comment telling us about your English learning journey. Where are you from? How long have you been learning? What's been your biggest breakthrough? We'd love to hear from you.
And next week, we're covering something super practical, how to politely disagree in English without sounding rude or aggressive. This is a big one, so you definitely don't want to miss it.
Thanks for listening to Real Talk English. Remember, you're making progress even when it doesn't feel like it. Keep going.
Bye, everyone.